How to design successful email campaigns. First, I have to tell you that email blasts are not email campaigns. And I hear that word all the time, email blasts. Managers who have access to large email lists love to say, this message is so important, let's send out an email blast. Let's blast our people. Might sound good, might seem pretty powerful. Oh, we've got 10,000 people on a list, or 50,000, or however many it is, and you're gonna blast your message to them. Well, got one small problem. You and a million spammers have the same idea. People are blasted with email every day. And if you look at the numbers, you'll see that by sending a single email blast, you're going to have problems, and that is not a campaign. First of all, what happens is that 5% of your messages are not even going to get through to those people. Unfortunately, because of all the spam filters and proxy servers and other complexities that can occur with email transmission, they just don't get through. They end up in a folder where people don't even see them. They get blocked, they get lost. 5% just don't get through. There'll be a small percentage that bounce back. There's email churn. You've got to figure out, well, is that person gone? Do they have a new email address? Was their email box full? You need a system that can start tracking these things. When you track these things, you'll see some other things that start to happen. Out of all the emails that you send in your blast, maybe 20% will get opened. And even if your constituents really love you and you know they read everything that you send them and they're just dying for more information, even then, best case scenario, you might get 30 to 40%. You'll never get the majority of people opening a single email. And then what happens after they open the email? Well, a few will click through. Maybe 5% will click through to your website and read the full story that goes with your message. It's not a good idea to put the whole message in an email blast, though some people still try to do that. You really want people to click through to your website because that's where they're going to take some action. Maybe you want them to donate to your fundraising campaign, or to sign a letter, or to forward the message on to other people, or to register for an event. Whatever it is, you need them to take more action than is just contained in that email. Well, if you do the measurements of how many people follow through on a single email after that click-through, you'll find that it's less than 1% will take the action. So the result of an email blast, no different from spam. You have a fractional percent that might do something. That's not a good methodology. The email blast is overrated. It's not any different from spam. So what defines a good mass email campaign? Customer engagement. You need to engage people. We know that these percentages can be low, so how do we maximize engagement with emails? Well, a campaign consists of a series of teasers, asks, and follow-ups. So by a teaser, that's where you craft your theme and message ahead of time, but rather than send out the full message, you start the campaign by maybe having just a little note about this upcoming idea in an earlier newsletter, or maybe you have some little ad blocks on your site, or just a little informational article on the web, or you start sending out some tweets, or whatever it is, just teasers. You start getting the idea out there. Then you send your first message. And with that first message, you're building on top of this stage of the teasers and starting to roll out the campaign. Now, that first message doesn't have to have everything. Again, you want people to click through to a website to take some action and get more information. Now, after you send that first message, you can look at the numbers and say, gee, how many opened it? How many clicked through? And then you wait a few days or a week and decide, okay, what are we going to do now for our second message? Well, first of all, you're not going to send it to everybody on the list. You don't want to badger people. That's not the point. What you want to do is look at, and if you have a good email system, Constant Contact, MailChimp, iContact, PagerMail, all these systems can do this kind of tracking for you, where it'll tell you who opened the email and who clicked through. So you make a decision, Gee, let's send an email to all those people who never even opened our message. That could be 80, 90% of them. Doesn't hurt to send a second message when they never read the first one, right? Okay, so you send that out, you're not bothering the people who opened the first one. Then you look at those results. Then you decide, gee, where are we at with this campaign? Again, a few days later, a week later, you send a third message. You can design as many messages as you want to send. You just have to keep watching the numbers and see where you're getting action. And you do want to be careful that you're not badgering people and starting to lose them, because some people will opt out. But I'll tell you, it's acceptable to have less than a percentage of people opt out from a campaign. It doesn't hurt, because let's face it, if they're opting out, they're just not interested. They don't want to get your messages. It's what salespeople call cutting your losses. You don't spend your time with people who aren't interested. You really want to figure out who are the people who are interested that we can work with, that are going to do something with us. That's what you want to target. So you're going to have a small number of opt-outs. As you tailor your campaign, you just keep sending messages. Now you can do some targeting where for people who are opening but not clicking through, you might need to send a stronger message. Put something that gets their attention in the subject line. For people who are clicking through but they don't seem to be responding, there you want to be careful. You want to send just really short, really friendly little messages. You've already got their attention, but for some reason they're not following through. Now, as you get more sophisticated in designing and running email campaigns, you can use a technique called A/B testing, where you might create two different messages. You do some tests to see which one gets the best response, and then you use that preferred message. Or you might find that maybe one message works for certain kinds of people, one for other, and you can do more targeted lists if you have that information and that kind of feature in your email system. With a really nice system like MailChimp, which many people are adopting these days, it will even automate your A/B testing so that it'll do some sampling for you with some different messages. It'll run the campaign, and then it will decide which one's getting the best response, and it will just send that better message to the rest of your email list. So that's how you run a successful mass email campaign, by designing a series of messages instead of the old email blast.